we've got verification, we've got documentation, the medical evidence to substantiate, treatment that was done, a disability that allows us to get to the next step of preservation, preserving their entitlement to a claim, get the claim filed, representation. So we're involved in this process of representing them, gathering this information, and when we've got enough, we actually, file that claim with the Department of Labor. But through this entire process, we need cooperation. We need to be provided with the initial documentation, that verification that allows us to take the next step. Someone can't just come to us and say, well, hey, I was hurt, 4 or 5 years ago and injured my shoulder, and they sent me home and I've never been able to work right since, and I haven't had any medical treatment. That doesn't necessarily give us what we need. Litigation is not convenient for any party, and usually it's not very convenient for the individual involved. They have to actively be involved in their case, and they have to cooperate with us. There's going to be work that they need to do to track down, documents that they have, whether that be emails that they exchange with their employer about an incident that occurred, or about them being sent back for medical care to their home country, whether it involves reviewing, finding their old employment contract, figure out exactly how much they were earning, what their rights may have been pursuant to their employment contract, if that was a terminable at-will contract, if it was for a year, longer than a year's term, whatever that might be. We need their ongoing cooperation, because without it, we aren't able to take one step and then another step and then another step to push this claim through the process. Create an attorney-client relationship early on in the process while we're trying to get verification, while we're trying to get documentation. And then decisions are made depending upon what we've got to document the viability of a claim. Then we make the determination whether a claim is actually going to be filed with the Department of Labor. Even after a claim is filed with the Department of Labor, you've got to make a determination if your benefits are still denied, if you're going to pursue a trial and take this in front of a judge. You're only going to do that when you've got documentation to support a claim. You're not going to file a claim and pursue litigation when you don't have the evidence to support your allegations. Allegations. So, the representation may even come further up in this, but you got verification, documentation, that's kind of a part of our representation, even the preservation. Again, at that point, presumably we're already representing an individual in preserving their claim, but at that point, generally, we've got some initial indications that there's documentation out there so that we can verify and document an injury, an accident, condition that requires medical treatment, and some level of disability as well. In the end, that does not only the successful litigation, but how far into the litigation process we go. If we get in and we get some indication of some initial, verification of the incident, some documentation for medical treatment, a medical condition, some disability, we may file a claim. It doesn't stop there. There may be additional work that's needed. There might be an indication that there's some additional documentation out there. You get an initial medical report, but an individual might have been seen, once a month by a doctor for a year. There's got to be some follow-up to get complete records. So that cooperation comes into play across the whole spectrum, and that will, not only direct the litigation and how far we go with it, but ultimately if it's going to be successful or not.